Welcome to Everyday Life. Thank you for joining our podcast, Conversations Over Coffee. My name is Jen.
And I'm Dagda.
And we're going to hit you with the explicit content warning right off the bat. This podcast does include adult situations and adult language from time to time.
I'm an angel. I never fucking cuss.
Okay. Anyways, you ready to go?
Oh, yeah.
All right, let's go. Anyways, we don't have to talk about that twat gobbler.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, he's such a...
Fuck that dude.
What is... He's such a wanker. He don't get no twat to play with.
You bloody wanker.
Fucking useless piece of shit.
Yeah.
Anyways, how are you doing?
I'm doing all right. How you doing?
I'm fine. Sometimes you start recording at the most inopportune moments, and I'm just like, I feel like a deer in the headlight. It's like, Well, it's not that we have different laughs on mic or off mic. It's that sometimes people might take the laughing out of context. Especially, and you have to think about it in this way. Like, especially if they've just finished, like if they're binging, like we're with them while they're doing their 10-mile cycle episode, right? They're doing their cycles, getting their steps in or whatever. And so they're out there listening to us, and we might have just finished talking about, like, so the deer died. And then the next thing they hear, if they're skipping the outro, is,
Yeah.
It sounds wicked.
That's okay. The deer was tasty.
Like, hey, don't ever waste a deer. Make deer jerky out of it. Deer jerky's pretty good. Pretty good.
Oh, yeah.
I like teriyaki deer jerky better than I like regular deer steaks. But that's just me.
I've never had teriyaki deer.
Oh, teriyaki deer jerky is really good. There's a place out in Pierce County. It's in a little city, and they make all kinds of venison jerky, teriyaki.
I found
sweet
out
and salty, or sweet and hot and sweet. Hot and sweet. That's the
hot
other
and
one.
spicy.
Hot and sweet, original.
Sweet and spicy. I found out the other day something that I did not. Maybe I heard it a long time ago, but I didn't remember.
Okay.
That bison actually exist in Europe as well as North America. I thought bison was only in North America.
I don't know. I think we're the only ones who eat it. I don't know.
I'm pretty sure they eat it. Well, like in England, they went extinct because people were fucking eating them until they weren't anymore.
I mean, it's not that hard to go up to the Grand Tetons, capture a few, and haul them across the sea, I guess.
So what they did is there's still a, I can't remember if it was Ukraine or Poland, one of those sort of Soviet edge countries that still had a very small number of them. It was like 25 of them or something.
Yeah, Poland or Belarus or something like that, yeah.
And they started breeding them and reintroducing them to a bunch of the countries. So like England, relatively recently, they reintroduced them. And they hadn't been in England for like 4,000 years.
Yeah, it's crazy. And I'll tell you what, bison is delicious.
Yes, it's tasty.
So we recently switched over to primarily when we're having a quote beef, it is bison. That is our primary. When we're having red meat, we're primarily having ground bison. And I can tell the difference between ground bison and ground beef now. Like,
Yeah.
so easily, because my partner made pasta last night for dinner, and he does a really good job with spaghetti. But I could tell the meat was, he'd actually used like ground beef and ground pork. And it was good, but it wasn't as good as when I used ground bison last time.
Yeah, there's a restaurant up here called Tatanka. And it's a small restaurant. There's like one dude who cooks for the place.
Yeah, if you're lucky, there'll be two people working that day.
Yeah. And so, yeah, most of the time there's only that dude in there.
Tatanka burgers.
Yeah. And yeah, it had been a long time. And actually, the last time I went up there was with Chuck.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
What a great last meal to share that one.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, a private meal. Like, we shared a meal for Mom's birthday, or Mama D's birthday. Anyways.
But yeah, that place was fucking great. They used to have, they still kind of do, they used to have a whole plethora of different hot sauces. like when I was living with my buddy from high school, and we were both super into hot sauce. So like every time I went there, I'd try a different hot sauce because, like I said, they had like 20 different types of hot sauce. Mm-hmm. And yeah, it was good stuff.
Remember when you, me, and my ex went when we did a staycation because none of us could afford,
yeah.
and we went to the zoo,
Yeah.
and then we went there and had burgers, and he was just like blown away.
Yeah.
And back then it was expensive as fuck.
Yeah. It's still pretty fucking expensive.
But it was so worth it because it was like, oh my God, this is like best burger ever.
Yeah.
So yeah, yeah, that's amazing. Everybody should eat bison.
Yeah.
It's a cleaner meat.
It's also naturally leaner. It doesn't have as much body fat typically. I don't know. I like my lots of fat beef.
I mean,
I usually buy 80-20.
well, that's because you do the carnivore meals.
Yeah, so I need more fat because I'm not having as much carbs.
Yeah. And I've cut back on carbs most of the time. I would say it's like the 80-20. 80% of the time, I'm not having very many carbs. So like last night, I didn't have any pasta, but I did have bread, which is still carbs, but less carbs than if I'd had the pasta with it.
Yeah.
But usually at least once a week, we do ground bison taco salads.
Yeah, okay.
Oh,
Yeah.
it's just joy in a bowl. It's just it's just happiness in a bowl. And yeah, I mean that's going to be the meat that survives when the apocalypse happens because they're a hardy animal.
Yeah. I mean, cows are pretty hardy too.
Yeah, but bison don't
also
need their feet trimmed regularly.
Well, neither do cows if they're living in their natural environment, right? So if they're out actually walking around like they would normally, their hooves wear down.
We've all seen Graham.
Yeah, they're not living in. None of those cows are living in the fucking.
He's got a couple of the cows that live out on the pastures in what would be considered their natural environment. It's just so boggy there.
Yeah.
But they still have to be checked because sometimes their toes will grow long.
Yeah.
Graham, don't die in the apocalypse. Live so we can have good beef. Honestly. Well, speaking of animals, so I don't get on YouTube all that much. But I told you last week that I was peeking at YouTube and had seen a couple things I hadn't even thought about for a while.
Okay.
And one of the things that I'd seen, and now I'm seeing on my Facebook feed all the time, is a guy. His name is Dean Schneider. Do you know who that is?
It sounds familiar. I don't know.
He's a guy.
He look like a man.
His name's Dean Schneider, and he's actually a Swiss entrepreneur.
Okay.
And he's fucking hella smart.
Okay.
So he was born in 90, and in 2017, which makes him 27 years old. So when he was 21, he started as an entrepreneur, he started a financial system, right? And different financial things.
Okay.
He sold the business and went and bought land in Africa and started a animal sanctuary.
Yeah, okay, that dude. Okay. With the lions and shit.
Yeah, it's Hakuna Mipaka, which in Swahili means no limits. Which is interesting because Hakuna Matata means no worries.
Okay.
Because I was just like, wait a minute. When I first read that, I went, wait a minute. Hakuna Matata. And then I had sung the song in my head. I'm like, okay, that means no worries. Oh, it's not Hakuna Matata. It's Hakuna Mipaka. And he has a lot of names after the Lion Kings. King? He's got a Pumbaa. He's got a snake called Khan, which of course, obviously that's a throw to the Jungle Book.
Yeah. Why did he name the snake Khan? That's the name of the tiger. Also the coolest
in the Jungle
character.
Book?
Also the coolest character in the fucking God damn it. It's something Tails, but it's got Blue Bear and fucking Baloo Bear and fucking Khan.
That is the Jungle Book.
Yeah, I know.
And Khan is the snake.
Khan's the tiger.
Khan's a snake. Okay.
It's
I don't
like Ka or something like that is the name of the snake.
Well, you'll have to look it up.
He's big in hypnosis too because he hypnotizes people any fucking way with his stupid swirl eyes.
You talking about the snake?
Yeah, the snake from Jungle Book.
Listen to me.
Yeah.
Listen, Baloo. Baloo's the bear's name.
Baloo Bear. Yeah.
Baloo.
Yeah, that's
The
what I
bear.
said.
Not blue bear like blue balls, like Baloo the bear.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay. Well, what I think
I
is
corrected myself after I said blue bear because he's blue.
yeah.
Yeah.
I love the bare necessities.
Yep.
Such
the simple bare necessities.
That's right. But what's interesting is he's got a lot of the characters from Disney films in there. He's got his lion pride that's got six lions, 3 male, 3 female. And of course he's got Big Dexter, and he's got Snow and Leo. And then he's got
Ka.
And Show Me Khan.
Well, there's a picture of Khan right there, but
yeah, I want to see that his name actually is Khan. I don't want to have you show me a picture of a cartoon tiger and going, just believe me. Because you would try to fool me knowing you. You'd be like, you're smart, but you're not that smart. Shere Khan. It's not just Khan, it's Shere Khan.
Yeah, it's Khan.
Anyways.
Shere Khan. He is the coolest character in Tailspins.
Oh, Shere Khan?
Yeah, because he's like a pirate and also like a fucking like CEO type dude.
Yeah.
He's a great villain.
Well, I think it's really interesting that, so Dean Schneider, like I said, he's like this smart dude.
Okay.
Like, can you imagine, like, you don't have to imagine being smart, so don't go there. I know. I'm the golden child. It's awesome. But can you imagine being that determined at such a young age? 21 is very young.
Yeah.
That you're like, all right, I have to figure out a way to do better. And he does. And he's an entrepreneur, and he sells his shit. And at 27 years old, he says, fuck it all. And he goes and he creates an animal sanctuary in Africa. And it's made up of 400 hectares, which is a lot of land. And they've got all kinds of animals there: zebras, antelope, giraffes.
So is a hectare 10 fucking acres or something?
Something like that. But he has 400 hectares.
Yeah.
And, but so during COVID, I found him during COVID.
Okay.
And, I am like most of the planet out there where you can't afford to send money, but you'll view and click to support them because that works towards their money goal for doing it. And I thought it was really cool that this young dude who's now, think about it, he's now 35. He starts this animal sanctuary, and he does everything based on trying to keep the animals safe and keep them healthy. And he's got like these capuchin monkeys, like Momo and JJ were his first capuchin monkeys that he first got.
Okay.
And they can't be released in Africa. You know, there's some animals that can be rehabbed and released, like the capuchins can't because they're not native to Africa. They have to stay wherever they're at because they're only native to the Amazon.
Okay.
Yeah. And, but I love, it's really interesting. I was watching videos today, and this is what reminded me. I'm watching videos today, and I happened to see one, and he's talking about why the content, he kind of had like this 2-year delay in content. He went off, he got married, he's got 2 kids now. His wife is super beautiful. Like, oh my God, she's so pretty. But, you know, he's just like, look, here's the realities of doing this is I run Hakuna Mipaka as an animal sanctuary. It's not open to the public. Their address isn't even publicly known. It is not a published address for anywhere. But they spent
like
all
the
this
place where their fucking dire wolves are at.
Yeah, it's like you can't know. You just know it's somewhere.
Yeah.
Kind of. But it's all kept private because they don't want poachers to come. They don't want film crews to come. They don't do any of that. He is so particular about this animal sanctuary and how he gains money for it. So he spent the last 2 years refiguring out his financial purposes because he's just like, I know everybody sees me as a celebrity. First of all, ego much, but I don't see him as a celebrity, but I see him as somebody who's making a good impact.
Okay.
But I don't really see him as a celebrity because anybody else, I've asked other people, oh, did you see Dean Schneider's newest video? Who the fuck's that? So obviously he's probably more famous in his homeland or, in Africa. I don't know.
He's internet famous.
Well, he's got 11 million followers, and he consistently gets 2 million views per videos that he does.
Yeah.
And he can't pay the bills with that.
I mean, if you have, so I looked up what a hectare is. It's 2.5 acres.
So he's got 1,000 acres.
Yeah, which is a fucking lot. I
It
mean,
is
a lot
a
of
lot.
farmers are like, professional farmers are like 500 acres
Yeah.
or less. So,
Well, it was interesting because he was just like, look, I'm never going to compromise who I am. And I'm not just going to, I guess that people have been trying to partner with him to hawk the brands and everything. He's just like, He's just like, I'm that particular because I don't want to, one, do something I don't believe in. And two, I don't want to do it to where people are like, he had a hard time sharing some of this stuff on the journey because he didn't want people thinking that he was like these other places that are supposed to be annual sanctuaries, but then to get by and pay bills, they actually let people come in and pose with the animals and shit.
yeah.
So it was interesting to hear. It was refreshing to hear somebody say, I'm going to stand by my word. I'm going to keep this sanctuary for these animals, but I have to figure out how to pay for, because he pays for it all out of his own pocket. And he's just like, sometimes you can tell he's mad when he's just like, I know I'm a celebrity and everybody thinks that comes with lots of money, but that's not true. And especially not with how YouTube's changed how people get paid now.
Yeah. I mean, they're constantly altering their stuff so that they don't have to pay as much money.
Yeah. And I'm just like, maybe there should be a different platform out there.
I mean, there are other platforms.
No.
Just none of them have the same market share as fucking YouTube does.
Yeah. I don't know. It was really cool. So I've seen a lot of the old videos till now, and I just can't believe how big some of these animals have gotten. Because one of the reasons he stopped putting out so many videos is he had a video that he put out when Leo was a younger lion. I think it was Leo. And the lion pounced on him during play and raked him over his eye with a claw because he got too rough. So the way lions like show that, hey, that's too much, is they usually like either swipe back, like punch back, or they hit their hands, and he hit the lion's hand, and everybody's like, oh, you're abusing the lion. Like, really? How is a 200-pound grown-ass man abusing a 400-pound lion? Let's think about this logically, idiots.
Yeah. He cut open my face. I slapped his paw. Shut the fuck up.
Yeah. Well, I thought it was cute because so his first daughter was born in 2024, 25, something like that. Because his second daughter was just born. But he named his first daughter after his queen of the pride, which is Nyla.
Okay.
Yeah, I love the names he's got. Of course, the first lion I fell in love with was Dexter, and you know why.
Yep.
Say it.
Does he do blood spatter analysis?
No, it's Dexter's laboratory.
Yeah.
But, you'd think. But it was because instantly when he said Dexter, I wasn't thinking of Dexter, the show. I was actually thinking of the cartoon because of the personality. Like, he's got this little devious personality. But he's got this other lion. His name is Snow, and he's called Snow the Gentle Giant, and he's massive. He's massive. When he stands on his hind legs, he's got to be 7 feet or better. He's huge. But it's so cool kind of watching all these animals grow up, and the fact that you've got this guy out there who's literally doing this for preservation, wildlife preservation, and they don't interfere much with the animals at all. Like, they will a little bit here and there, but not much. Like Nyla, his female lioness, she had some kind of a communicable disease that kept coming up as mouth blisters. So, so they had to sedate her, and they had to do surgery and remove the affected area because it would just keep happening over and over. And as she would interact with the other ones, there was a possibility of her transmitting that.
Yeah.
So it kind of sounds like the herpes, maybe. I don't know. It didn't say other than a communicable lion disease. And all I thought when I saw blisters and they had to cut her out and all that, I was just like, she's got lion herpes. That's all I thought. But yeah, it's really cool. We should watch more of him. I personally like it. Like, so like other animals obviously die naturally on other parts of his land.
Okay.
And they'll drag the bodies over. Like, they had a zebra that died of natural causes, and they took it over fairly quickly after death. Yeah, it was interesting to watch that one. Them lions was all about eating that zebra.
Eat this donkey ass.
That's literally where they start. They literally start at the anus so they can work their way in.
Yeah, a lot of times they'll a lot of times the organs are the preferred food.
Yeah.
So yeah, they'll start trying to get to the organs first, and then they'll eat like the legs or whatever.
Now they really like the livers and the heart.
Yeah.
And I'm just thinking,
Well, there's lots of nutrients in there besides just protein.
yeah. Well, yeah. I don't know. I just found it fascinating and cool. And I'm really kind of surprised that he doesn't have more followers.
Okay.
As big as this planet is, only 11 million.
I mean, not everybody's interested in fucking animals in the wild, let alone African animals, right? So,
I mean, I guess. I don't know, but
we got plenty of animals that need fucking saving here. Why bother with them foreign animals? And that's true everywhere on the planet.
that's fair. That's fair. Because, I mean, I don't subscribe to Dean Schneider because I probably will now, but I didn't before because I'm just like, I wasn't like really believing that he wasn't there just trying to like market or scheme something because so many other people have been like, oh, I've created this sanctuary and then they're gone in a year.
Yeah.
And, you know, like, or you see like the
Tiger blood.
winning or you see I was going to say like the Tiger King.
Yeah.
You know,
that's what I was,
referring to. Okay.
Tiger King slash Liver King.
Where, you know,
Same
you've got those
difference.
people in Florida and they've just, or, you know,
Florida man. Florida, Germany, or Japan.
look, we got to quit saying Germany, okay? Because they're our number one European listeners.
Yeah, I love Germany.
Although
Doesn't mean that they don't have weird shit there.
Finland's coming in real quick.
Okay.
Coming in hot, bitches. I mean, just like I would probably make up a thank you because in what, I don't know what it was like literally we can track it.
Yeah.
So I'd put out a thank you post to Germany for being our number one in our European listeners.
Yep.
And then I'd put one out to Singapore for being number one in our Southeast Asia listeners.
Yep.
What happened the next day?
Vietnam,
baby. I sent you a text. I went, or 2 days later, I sent a text, and out of nowhere, here comes Vietnam. And Vietnam is like, I don't know. I'm thinking they might catch up.
Yeah.
They might catch up to fucking Seattle. I can't say the United States, but they might catch up to Seattle.
Yeah.
At this rate. But it's really interesting to me because I like looking at all the stats and everything. Because I'm like, wow. And I'm really excited because they're, well, kind of. I think some of your friends just started listening in. Like some of your other friends just started listening in. Because the one about like pen and paper role play has been doing good. And then, of course,
I think only one of my friends has actually listened to any of our stuff.
well, when we look at the primary city, that literally, until you get way out in the boondocks of Pierce County, it all comes in as that.
Yeah.
Because that's a lot. Anyways, Dean Schneider. I hope people check him out because I think it's a good cause.
Yeah.
Keeping, I mean, he took this break because of the backlash from disciplining the lion, the younger lion, so that he knew not to be so rough. He got married.
Yeah.
The house they were living in on the sanctuary is legitimately was falling apart. So he had to, and then of course, like he said, he had to look at a longevity plan financially for Hakuna Mipaka because he didn't want to ask anybody for donations, and he didn't want to have to partner with brands that he didn't thoroughly support because he feels that a lot of brands that want to partner have an ulterior motive. It can't all be about money. He wants to save these animals. He wants to preserve them.
Yeah.
So it's really cool that he's doing that, and I hope more people go and check him out.
Yeah.
Because I think that's pretty awesome if he truly is doing what he says he's doing. But I think he is. I enjoy the videos where he's playing with the capuchin monkeys, and I love it when he plays with lions.
Yeah.
I mean, it's super funny. One of his videos, he's recording there, and he's like, Nyla thinks she's going to come get me because Nyla's like obsessed with him. And you're like you're thinking as you're watching this video, you're like, what the fuck is he talking about? And then you can see what he's seeing on his screen because he's obviously recording as well. And you can see her barely, you can just see her eyes through the bushes and she's slinking. And I just thought, oh man. And of course I did see the video where the one line was playing too rough with him. And I didn't see anything wrong with it. I'm just like 200-pound man versus 400-pound lion. If he crossed the lion's going to let him know.
Yeah.
But anyways, I'm glad you know who he is because I think it's great. I mean, first of all, I'm never going to go to Africa.
Okay.
I don't, a lot of people have this, I want to do this destination out. If I can get there on a boat, maybe. I just do not like flying. Not only does it make me want to vomit, but I feel really disconnected for a couple weeks after I fly. So I don't want to fly anymore. I have no desire to, none. I don't have a desire to fly. So I'm not going to Africa. I'll go to Florida if I drive. Next time I go to Missouri, I'm going to drive. I'm not flying. I don't care. I'd rather see what's along the way. That's how I was raised.
That's what I got to say about what's along the way.
Well, that's because the only flight you want to go is to Thailand.
Well, I've been to almost every state in the lower 48.
Nice.
I've not been to Texas or Arizona or New Mexico.
Sorry. I'm not laughing at that. I just had a song pop into my head, and it was just not appropriate.
About your exes living in Texas?
No.
I've also not been in some of the Northeast states.
Like Connecticut and...
In Maine.
Well, nobody should go to Maine because that's where Stephen King says all the bad stuff happens.
I mean, that's why I want to go there.
Right. King burns his goods.
Get some lobster and some fucking...
Have you seen those northeastern lobster?
They're kind of ginormous.
And have you seen the guys who are actually fishing off of the coast of Maine? They have like this whole conservation program. And so you'll see these lobsters with all these notches missing out of their tails, and that's how they identify that. Hey, this is a female to keep because she's an egg bearer. They held up one of the videos I saw. I don't know why I end up watching these animal videos because it's like.
I also want to go to Solomon Island, which I don't know whether it exists or not. That's a reference to a video game. Although they made a pen and paper role playing game for it too.
Yes.
Secret World.
Didn't you? Oh, Secret World. Hey, didn't you tell me about like you're super excited about one of your LitRPG books is doing something interesting?
Oh yeah, I mean so Dungeon Crawler Carl is one of, if not the most popular LitRPG books. It's not my favorite. I do like it a lot, but it's far from my favorite out of that category. So I'm kind of like, but anyway, more power to the dude, Matt Denman, who writes it, because they're making a pen and paper role playing game based on the setting, and they actually are doing a Kickstarter for it.
That's not the one where it's like Russian written, where it's all
no.
That what's the name of that one that's like that?
That's
I don't ever want to read that one. That one sounds so sad.
It's Play to Live, by D. Russ, and it's maybe the very first lit RPG ever written. There's a little bit of debate about whether it was a Korean dude who wrote the first one or whether it was him that wrote the first one. Not quite sure, but it's the first one that I ever read or listened to, and I love it. But it is very it's a Russian dude. And they're very good at writing, okay, you think good stuff's happening now, we're going to kick you in the balls.
Like Dr. Zhivago, of course.
Yeah, like every book, pretty much, you're like, yes, he's winning. Oh, God damn, it hurts.
Like Charlie Sheen.
Winning, oh, my balls.
Oh, Charlie Sheen, every time he starts winning, something else happens.
Yeah, but I will say, if I had to pick a world to live in, that one is top 10.
Dungeon Crawler Call or Kick You in the Balls?
No, the D-Rus, the Play to Live.
Okay.
And the reason is because it's arguably less shitty place to live by a lot compared to Dungeon Crawler Carl. This doesn't require an apocalypse to fucking happen to be part of it.
Interesting.
And like later on in the series, so in the play to live, basically you're getting uploaded into a game and then you're living permanently within the game. Towards the end of the series, they find a way to expand themselves outside of that game into other things. So there's like crossover into other games and stuff.
Right.
In Dungeon Crawler Carl, it's a fucking apocalypse that happens on Earth. And basically a corporation shows up and takes over Earth.
Right.
In the meantime, just murdering 99% of the population.
Well, I mean, what else are you supposed to do with them at the apocalypse?
And then, so the apocalypse is kind of almost incidental.
Oh.
They kill the majority of humanity, and then the rest of humanity has to play a game. And the corporation is making money off of this game because it's a show. So the rest of the universe is watching humans get a fucking murdered left and right, and they're cheering it on, basically. Hence the reason I do not want to live in this fucking world. It's fucking bullshit. However, it's a fucking great series of novels. And the main character is kind of hilarious. It's also, I don't know, there's a lot of shit going on in it. And there's a lot of interesting, like, I don't know. There's a lot of interesting stuff going on in the series. But once again, it would be utter dog shit to live in this fucking world.
Right.
It's worse than fucking, I would say it's worse than Warhammer and Warhammer 40K. And those are fucking terrible worlds to live in. This is worse. Especially if you are like, okay, let's gamble on, I'm going to go into one of these worlds. What I end up as when I go into this world is not up to me to decide. We're going to roll the dice and see what happens, right?
Right.
99% of humanity just died and didn't even get to get introduced to the game.
Jesus.
So if you're in this world, your chances of even being introduced to the game to die in it is fucking almost zero.
That's fucking brutal, man.
Yeah. So.
I don't know. So Dungeon Crawler Carl.
Yes.
Is and the only reason why the name is so familiar to me is, first of all, you've talked about it, which is great, but also I'm not going to say who, but there is another content creator, and that's one thing they do is they show the books they read, and Dungeon Crawler Carl happens to be a line of the books they follow.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, oh, I didn't know there was more than one book.
Yeah, there's like
7?
10 books. I think I have 8 of them. I've not, the last couple of books I have not listened to yet.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think I've listened to like 8 of them.
Yeah, it was crazy because it was just like, literally you had talked about it one day and then I think like a week later I saw it. And one of the problems I'm having with why I don't want to say the content creator's name is because I'm pretty sure their account got stolen.
Nah.
Because the whole name has changed and everything. And if they're in a dispute with somebody about it, I don't know who's right and who's wrong. I'll leave it at that. But yeah, they read a lot of books. Like I thought I read a fair amount of books last year. They absolutely blew you out of the water. They blew me out of the water. They read over 600 books last year, I think.
Damn. Yeah.
And I'm just like, how can you possibly read that much?
If you're listening to them,
they're actually
physically reading.
They're physically reading them. And with the average length of book is 441 pages, it literally means that you are spending more of your time reading than anything else other than breathing. And that's...
I mean, if you're like, that's where your source of content is, like there's a couple, well, there's one really, what would you call him? He's a content creator, but his content is all about fantasy and sci-fi books. Critic, I guess is what you would call him. And he just recently started LitRPG, which is kind of funny because he was kind of like poo-pooing on it at first. And then he did an interview with Aileron Kong.
Yeah.
the dude who wrote the Land series. And then he read Dungeon Crawler Carl and a couple others. And he really likes Dungeon Crawler Carl. So he's kind of turned around on his... Well, one of the things that he didn't like is that in most lit RPG, not all of them are this kind of strict in how they're doing stuff. But in most of them, you have actual stat sheets for the character.
Okay.
Just as if you were playing a role-playing game.
Right.
Because that's part of what's going on in the settings is you're in a reality where that sort of thing is normal.
Yeah.
So you can literally say, okay, I want to improve myself. You can literally look at your statistics and say, okay, well, I need to be stronger so that you wield this weapon because it has stat requirements.
Right.
Or whatever. And so as I level up, I'm going to put stat points into strength.
Yeah.
And so you have a literal fucking... Instead of saying, oh, he got stronger and just kind of hand waving the explanation. No, he trained. Okay, yeah, he's stronger now. And he fights an orc and it's easy. Whereas months ago, before he started training, he almost died fighting a goblin. And an orc is superior to a goblin, right?
Yeah.
Instead, there's literal character sheets that you can look at and see, okay, his weapon skill went up, his fucking strength went up, or whatever.
Yeah.
And so he didn't like the idea of that. And I kind of get it because I've never actually read one of these books. I've only listened to them.
Right.
And so, and it can be kind of jarring when sometimes in between chapters, they'll do an update on the character sheet. So there'll be like character review, and then they'll go through and they'll read the stats. And so that can be kind of jarring until you get used to it.
Yeah, because all of a sudden it's like you're in this story, and then all of a sudden it's like, wait a minute, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
That would mess with me a little bit just for the fact, like, wait a minute, what?
And that's actually kind of a newer thing.
Yeah.
I want to say, because in like the Play to Live, he doesn't really do that. Instead, what he does is, because in Play to Live, the main character is actually playing a video game. It's just that he's been uploaded into the video game because he had a terminal illness. And he basically finagled stuff to where he got forcibly uploaded into a video game to survive. And of course, his body dies, but his consciousness continues.
Yeah.
And instead of having okay, here's a character review, instead what happens is he actually goes through the process of updating his character. So when he levels up, he spends his points and stuff like that. So it's sort of integrated into what's going on instead of having a chapter break and then here's the character sheet. I don't know how they handled it in the book, in the paper book, right? Because I never read that. Like I said, I just listened to it. But I assume that it's kind of more, instead of just having a straight up character sheet, it's okay, we're upgrading this, we're upgrading that, so on and so forth.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting because when you were talking about Kickstarter and you were just like, there's this LitRPG and they're going to make an actual pen and paper roleplay game about it and stuff. And you said that hits out in the next couple of days where they're going to open up the campaigning for it.
Where they're going to actually start the campaign, yeah.
And I think that's really cool. Do you when you look at that aspect, and then you said they're doing it with Dungeon Crawler Carl, and it's the most, like, one of the most popular.
It's one of the most popular, yeah.
So would you prefer if they did it with, like, Aileron, the lands?
I would prefer the land. I would say it would be more difficult, potentially, because the land is more open. What I mean by that is that the land is... it's a huge planet. First of all, it's bigger than Earth that this is occurring on. And the main character that you're following is just in one little spot. In Dungeon Crawler Carl, it's a whole universe, but the setting is focused down on Earth as a game. And it's kind of like Running Man, the movie Running Man?
Oh,
Or the
jeez.
book Running Man?
The original or the remake?
The original. Well,
I haven't seen the remake either.
Really change much. Basically, you're just following the person as they run along through these events and through these levels of a game maze type thing.
Okay.
And so as a result, it would be easier because you're focused in on just this little aspect. It's basically a dungeon crawl. Whereas the land, it's open. You can be anywhere in the world. Although you only see a very small portion of the world because at this point it's only following one main character.
Yeah.
So from that aspect, it would be more difficult. Also, the way that the character progresses is also more open.
Yeah.
Because you have your skills, and leveling up your character doesn't necessarily level up your skills. You have to practice the skill. And so it's kind of almost like Skyrim and the Elder Scrolls, where you use your skills and that causes your skills to level up, and then those level ups cause you to level up your class. It's kind of like that, except the two are kind of independent of each other. Your skill leveling doesn't necessarily level your character, and your character leveling doesn't necessarily level your skill.
Yeah.
They're two separate tracks that are being worked on simultaneously. So every time you swing your sword, you get a little bit of skill progression in your swordsmanship.
Yeah.
But that doesn't necessarily, in and of itself, cause your experience points to go up. That is what causes you to level as a character.
Right.
But when you level up as a character in the land, you get like two. No, it's one. You get one skill that you can add plus 25% to the level progression of the skill. So you can be like, okay, well, I'm lagging behind on my shield work, and I'm a tank, so I kind of need that. So I'll drop an extra 25% in that, and it will cause it to level up that much faster.
Yeah.
And then also it's more complicated in that it has a system of affinities, let's say, where you have, let's say, a natural knack for spell casting. Okay. Although that's even an oversimplification because there's different types of spells.
Right.
But, and then each type of spell you would have a natural inclination for each one.
Sure.
So your maximum level in a particular skill is dictated by your affinity. And most people have only a couple of affinities that they're, okay, I'm really good. You're going to be really good at running, but not necessarily good at swimming or whatever. And so that kind of limits the typical character. The main character that you're following, he has some special abilities that kind of negate that limitation. And so he can effectively progress infinitely in all skills.
Nice.
But he still has to progress in them.
Yeah.
It just means that he never reaches he'll never reach a bottleneck where he can't progress any farther.
Yeah.
Whereas most people, even if they have the maximum affinity, they'll only be able to get to level 100, let's say, in a skill.
Yeah.
But the skills go above that.
And, and it's kind of like a good analogy for life. Like, you ain't going to grow up and get nowhere if you don't learn some skills.
Yeah.
Like, like a lot of people are just like, oh, these games are showing realistic. Not really. Because you can reflect it back and just be like, you didn't get where you're at by not knowing how to read and not knowing how to walk and not knowing how, everything is progression of life. So if you're able to look at your game ability like that, like, oh, it's just kind of like a natural progression in life. The more I do something, the more muscle memory, the more I learn, the more I become.
Yeah.
And it sounds interesting. And I wonder, when you looked and you saw that they were going to be dropping this, starting this Kickstarter fund, did it say what the end date was for it? Do you remember?
I didn't see what the end date was for it. Normally they have I don't remember.
Their maximum is 90 days.
I was going to
120.
say, I think typically they do 30 or 60 days, something like that. before they close the Kickstarter. And then if it gets funded, then they progress with it. If it doesn't get funded, then they cancel it.
Yeah.
Although a lot of times they'll have situations where they're like, okay, well, we didn't meet our goal, but we're going to continue with trying to produce this product. Because a lot of times it's a sort of testing of the market to see if it's a viable product. And obviously, if they meet their funding, and especially if they surpass it, obviously it's viable, at least for the immediate future.
Yeah.
But sometimes, even if they don't meet it, it still shows, okay, it's still kind of a viable product.
Yeah.
But we're just going to have to find our own funding and then make it back once we sell the stuff. So
out of all the Kickstarters you've ever supported, have any of them come to fruition or not come to fruition? Or have you just lost your money?
So you don't necessarily lose your money. Most times this isn't always the case, but 9 times out of 10, if it fails, they just don't charge you the money. There are some that succeed and you still end up not getting your stuff. That does happen.
Has that happened to you?
It has not happened to me. The only thing that I've had happen is, I've kickstarted 3 projects. One of them was what I was talking about earlier, the fucking Secret World, the pen and paper role playing game version of the MMO. I kickstarted that, and so I got only did the digital copies, but yeah, I got the digital copies of all the stuff that they were putting out for that. At least the initial stuff. I think they've done another one since, and I didn't participate in that because I didn't have a job. And then there was another one. I don't remember what it was, but there was another one that I did, and I did the same thing. And then the third one, they ran into. So they had a successful campaign, and they even managed to meet a bunch of their stretch goals, which means that they went over what their basic requirement was to fund, and then they added additional things that, okay, if we get $1,000 past our funding goal, then we'll add this content, or we'll add this item, or whatever, right? The other one was Monster Hunter International. And so that's why I showed you that coin. That's where that coin came from, is that stretch goal thing. The other one was a thing, I can't remember the name. It was like Poggle or something like that. Basically, it was this little digital character for using in like D&D or whatever.
Okay.
For on the table. And basically it was a little projector type thing that basically you could load digital images onto it. And so this one item could replicate however many different creatures you wanted.
Okay.
Because you just choose the picture that you want it to display, and then it's that creature. And so instead of having to get, I'm in this campaign, I'm playing a druid, so you get a little tree hugger person, and then you use that miniature for that, and then tomorrow I'm playing a space marine, so then you have to have a space marine model, which I have a bunch of those. You can just
have a digital display then.
Yeah, you can just have a digital display. And
did you ever get that?
No. So they succeeded in getting the funding and getting stretch goals, but what ended up happening was, so they were already at the point where they had prototypes, but apparently the company that they had gone through to, number one, create the schematics and all that for the device, and the company that they had set up to do the programming, and then the company that they had set up to do the actual manufacturing of the device. At least 2 of those 3 ended up changing their minds. And then one who actually did like the the schematics and stuff. They backed out and then were like, we're not giving you your fucking schematics. Wow. So they had to go back and recreate the device from scratch. And this was like 2 years ago. So it's still
under legal recourse.
Yeah, I don't know if they even bothered with all that. They just went ahead and hired somebody else to do it. But there's still no product.
So you got charged the money?
No.
Okay, cool.
So I didn't end up getting charged the money, but I'm still like, I want this thing still. But yeah, there's been so much
legal garbage in the middle.
Yeah.
And that's humans can be just shady.
Yeah.
You know, and that's too bad because it's what it's too bad. That's why everything's going to AI.
Yeah.
Because you can't lie unless you're programmed to lie. Anyways.
Yeah.
So that's really interesting. I hope that Kickstarter campaign goes really well because I think that'll be something fun for you to do with your pen and paper group.
Yeah.
Have you told them about it yet?
Yeah, I mean, Jeremy talks about it a lot because he loves Dungeon Crawl Carl. After I fucking told him, hey, you should read this one. Mm-hmm. He's like, yeah. So there's 8 books. Yeah. And I've read the first 6.
Nice.
I haven't read the last 2, so...
Yeah, I think I knew there was probably at least 7.
Yeah.
Because I'm pretty sure that's what I'd seen on that one creators thing was volume 7. Because it was like featured in their 4 favorite books of the month in like January or something like that. But...
And Jeremy's been getting them through the library, although he did end up buying physical copies of several of them.
Wow.
But yeah.
I mean, that's kind of cool. Like the power of the people is really cool. And there's probably a lot more people who want to do things like this, but they're just not daring enough to try. Or they don't know how to try. And, Kickstarter is kind of one of those things where it's literally, like I said, it's like 30, 60, 90. I think it might be 120 days, up to 120 days. But it's all or nothing with there. So you have to really think about what the consensus is in the world, what your target audience, what you think they can do, and what's a realistic goal. Because personally, with it being limited, say you need to raise 100,000, I think I would do it in 4 stages and do stage 1, 25,000.
Yeah.
And these are our goals to get to stage 2 going, to 3 to 4.
Yeah.
But
well, a lot of times, so one of the things that most people are betting on when they're actually supporting these campaigns is that there will be a finished product.
Yeah.
Right? And that they will get the finished product. They're basically pre-ordering the product.
Yes.
And so what happens is the companies tend to not even bother with trying to run a Kickstarter campaign until they've got this stuff far enough along to where basically we just need this final push and we'll have the finished product.
Yeah.
And so with games, especially games that are we're just selling a book.
Yeah.
Not we're selling a bunch of fiddly bits or whatever. It's relatively easy to have, okay, we have everything done up to this point. We got all the writing, we got the rules, we got the artwork.
So now we just need the physical prints.
Yeah, now we just need to be able to physically print the book. Although if you're in that situation, then realistically you can just go to on-demand printing. Print on demand. So a Kickstarter isn't really necessary unless you still have some of those other elements like editing and fucking layout and fucking artwork. If you have everything else, being able to pay those professionals that do those specialist jobs could be a final hurdle that you need to go past.
Yeah.
So doing Kickstarter is a good choice to enable you to do that.
Yeah.
But you still also have to have at least like a mock-up of what the final thing is.
Yeah.
So like for both Secret World and Monster Hunter International, they had the artwork. And so you could see what the style of the art was going to be when you actually got the book. With both of those, they kind of had the benefit of previous previous products, because the Monster Hunter International, there was already a role-playing game out for them. It was just that it was for the hero system. And then with Secret World, they had all the art assets from the video game. And I think they had a comic or something also for it. So they had that art assets that they could use and say, okay, this is what the stuff is going to look like in the actual book.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's been another good day for us.
Yeah.
And it's kind of interesting because I think what I've surmised from the last hour is we're wishing you the best of luck, Dean and Carl. I'm truly hoping the Kickstarter goes well for it because I think you'll really enjoy it.
Yeah.
And I of course I'm secretly sitting here crossing my finger going, hey Butcher, maybe you ought to do a Kickstarter for the renewal series. I'm telling you, the power of the fans.
Yeah.
Hopefully everybody has a great day out there.
Yeah, hopefully. Later.
Bye. Okay, everybody. That's all the time we have for today. So I want to thank you for stopping by to enjoy the conversation. We're glad you're here, and please share and share again and share some more. And if you haven't already, subscribe. We'll be having another chat and another cup soon. We'll talk to you then. Look forward to seeing you.